Okay, my friends, fasten your seatbelts. They said that Falkirk could not be done in under 4 minutes. It wasn't done in under 4 minutes, it was done in 4 minutes 10 seconds, so bit of a shame there. But this is Agincourt. We're going to get through this in 4 minutes. 1415, very famous battle in northern France. King Henry V depicted in Shakespeare fame. This incredibly famous victory against insurmountable odds against the French. This was during the 100 Years' War, and it was all about Henry heading over to stake his claim as King of France. Very daring military campaign in August 1415. It all starts at the northern French port of Harfleur, which is besieged to secure a base by Henry. However, it takes him a few months to win Harfleur. Winter's closing in fast, and therefore Henry makes the decision, quite a strange decision, to march to the English stronghold at Calais to shelter over the winter months. Could have transported his men by ship, decided to walk. As Henry's march progressed, problems emerged amongst the men. Dysentery, tiredness, hunger, the weather worsened. All the while the French forces were shadowing the English too, and eventually Henry was forced to make a stand. This took place at Agincourt, and Henry chose Agincourt really because of the location defensively. We talked before how that using a geographical location is very important in battle. We've seen it at Falkirk. In this case, Henry looked at Agincourt. There was ploughed ground after the heavy rain, which would slow down an attack on him by the French. The flanks were protected by forest. The battlefield was very narrow, so it was a good location to try and defend, even though the English had incredibly inferior numbers compared to the French. One of the tactical things that Henry used was to drive long wooden stakes into the ground in front of his men to act as a barrier against a French cavalry charge. And the night before, obviously, you have Henry going round trying to boost the morale of his men. The famous sort of St. Crispin's Day speech, again echoed in Shakespeare's play, Henry V. So the battle started. Henry got some of his archers to fire from the woods to try and incite the French into attacking. English longbowmen joined in too, and eventually it worked. The French cavalry did attack, charging at the good defensive position that Henry had chosen. The French cavalry was slowed by the muddy ground. They were under fire from the English archers. They had to dismount from their horses. They struggled ahead, weighed down by their heavy armour, cramped together on a very narrow battlefield. There was a huge clash between both sides, and over time the French forces began to wither and withdraw from the battlefield, and the day was won by Henry, and has been celebrated ever since. Henry's role at Agincourt, we just need to talk about. His march across France was incredibly risky. His decision to execute French prisoners at the battle was seen as rather unchivalrous of the time and a bit of a war crime. However, he did choose his location wisely. He used his archers particularly effectively. Remember, we've talked about how the longbow is becoming more important in medieval battles as the decline of the mounted knight occurs. We've seen that at Falkirk as well. And the other thing to talk about, I suppose, with Henry is that he fought with his men. So he showed great bravery actually on the battlefield. We are under 4 minutes. Thank you.